Hi everybody, this is a very important video that it's one of my farm updates that goes into the Syntropic Workshop. I've posted it on YouTube because it's super important, because it's led me to a structural understanding, a strategic understanding of where I need to go to get more out of this farm. These farm updates are regularly posted in the Syntropic Workshop, plus any other technical information and everything else and support, not to mention the online course. So if you get anything from this video and you want to learn more, I ask you to support my work at $7.99 per month. Learn all the courses that are on the Syntropic Workshop, join the community, develop excellence, and with that we continually give back, and that's where we give back. That's where the big effort is made, to give back with the heart. YouTube's great, I give what I can there, but I'm very busy. I love to share, but the Syntropic Workshop is the place if you want to get the very most out of all of the progress we do. Very cheap subscription, supports us and keeps us going, helps keep us going to get where we're going. And we're going to great places, all of us. So I'd love to see you in there. Thanks, hope you enjoy the video. Hi everybody, this is a farm update on the 30th of June 2024. Going into, well, not going into, but pretty much established now in the winter season. So a little bit of a report and an update on how things are going. So we've got 10 acres under an accumulation system. Just if you look behind me, all of the placenta 2, namely pigeon pea, is planted out. What we found is that an accumulation of pigeon pea and a full cycle of that plant and a full consolidation makes a massive difference to the stability of the system and forms a very good base for the next stage of species succession. And as you can see, well, let's have a look behind me. You can see there's no mulch in the rows. Yeah, no mulch. So the reason being is we found we could accumulate and not have to mulch, because the plants like pigeon pea, there are a few more placenta 2 plants that cycle through as well, but pigeon pea is the main one at this stage of species succession here on my site. Analogues like Tagasasti, etc., will be an important plant in other climates. Plus, well, there's many that we can use, and those plants, wherever you are, they're indicated by how they all grow when you observe them. Often we plant the plants in a big group as we build a consortium, but we're always going to find one is going to be much stronger than the rest, or one or two. They're the ones we focus on in the correct density, and allow them to cycle and consolidate, and they prepare the way. Now they prepare the way by using the factor of time, and while that's happening, we can work on other parts of our system. And this, our farm, Syntropia's farm, is a market garden in the centre, so that's where the biomass has been delivered. Now I'll just say that this last cut, we never mulched, we never put any biomass on this centre market garden into row. We cut the grass and fed it back to the system. But we still have our ground, it's still working, it's still digesting biomass, we're still getting the worms, we're still storing carbon in the ground, and it's still getting ready for the market garden. But back to this placenta 2, that full cycle, it might look like a monoculture of pigeon pea, and to some extent it is, but look, in species succession, you're always going to get dominant groups, and it can look like a monoculture, but they're phases. The important thing is to allow those phases to cycle. It's really important because they're opening the way for the next stage, particularly in accumulation systems. And again, you must have the right density for it to be effective. Quite often we don't have enough density in our consortia because it becomes an unintended consequence because we're putting so many plants in our consortia. We tend to spread out and make room for all of them. Well, we just don't have to do that. If we just plant them all on top of each other, all at very high densities, they will organise themselves. And that's how we end up with pigeon pea dominance at this phase in succession. So it's all working out. So next season we will hit this pigeon pea and drop it to the ground, and we will plant banana, cassava and inga and perhaps some acacia in there. And that what that will do is that will get us our crop going, boosted, because that crop would never have gotten the start in life without this preparation of pigeon pea before it. I could have planted banana all through this as well, but I can't because I don't have enough suckers. They're still propagating, so they'll come out next season. What numbers I do will come out next season, and then the following season they'll sucker off again, and we'll split them and keep planting out and hopefully fill the whole farm. But let's have a quick look at the ground. So it smells good. It's got all of the signs of fertile ground, all of the indicators that you want to grow vegetables. So that's our strategy here, is to grow vegetables while we're accumulating the rest of the system for the main agroforestry rows. And even though we fed this grass back to the to itself, and we didn't mulch or organise the biomass into this interrow, we still have a good activity here which is preparing the way. Now let's get into some more bigger picture strategic details. I was supposed to have a market garden by now according to my planning. So why didn't that happen? The reason being is that one, I couldn't get the machinery here at exactly the right time every time, which is very important for the precision in the life cycles of market gardening, the cropping. You've got to get one after the other after the other. As soon as you're pulling out and harvesting, you're planting again in the next one. This makes a big difference because, first, yes, you get a continual supply, but not only that, you can supply, sorry, I'll take that back. You get continual production that way, but you have also continual supply, and continual supply is really important for marketing. If you are stop and start, fits and starts and bits and pieces here and there all the time, and you're unreliable with your production and your ability to supply, it's very hard to sell and to get people to stay with you to buy from you. You need that continual production to be a reliable supplier. So that's one. But the next one is deeper and more important, and this is really big. Really, really big for me. This brings me down into the purpose of why I'm doing this farm. I'm not doing this farm, as much as I love farming, I'm not doing this farm to just be a farmer. This farm's largely managed by my father and myself. My father's a 5th generation, 6th generation farmer, I don't know. The first of my ancestors in Australia were farmers. Anyway, so the purpose of my farming is to share any progress I have. This is a farm that is basically economic research, but it is at the size where it has the scale to earn. My last farm was the same thing, R&D and trialling the numbers. Got the numbers, they were good. Applied them to this plot here, which is 20 acres, but I've just got the 10 going for now. So, because it is a farm to get the research, get the data, share the data, and create a reference for anybody else that wants to gain livelihood from syntropy. That's the big picture goal here. And I just can't, on my own, run the whole thing with a market garden. I can run it with casual labour and grow bananas and taro, that's no problem. But to make this farm reach its full potential, to show everybody what these farms can really, really do, I need to be able to say, hey, while we're accumulating all of this fertility and carbon through these tree rows, which will ultimately be banana, we need to use the resources now to get the most out of the ecosystem and production while continually building the ecosystem. And to do that is market gardens are a no-brainer. It's just made for it. As you can see behind me, everything, the structure is here to plant. I don't have to do much work. I just got to put the irrigation in, plant and harvest and manage. But the foundation for income is already in place. It's done. It's done. The tree rows are accumulating. The grass is being managed. The market garden into rows. I think I've got a good 4 kilometres of market garden into rows here. They're all done. They're ready. They're a foundation. They're waiting to be planted and managed. All at $410 per acre per year. So what I've done is I've hit a limit, and it's made me think deeply about what I need to do next, because you know what it's like. If you really, really believe in something, you do it and you prove it. It's only so much talking somebody can do, but actions speak louder than words. And my goal, of course, is to build this farm as a reference. Doesn't matter what climate you come from. If you come to my farm, or if you pay enough attention to the information in the Syntropic Workshop and keep asking me questions, I'll be able to show you how you can do exactly the same thing on your land. Doesn't matter whereabouts in the world you are, because the system doesn't change. The principles don't change. It's just the plants, the climate, the rainfall and the seasons change. That's the only difference, but the principles are the same. So it's made me think very deeply about what I have to do, because I felt a little bit stuck and frustrated, because every cent that I earn, I put into this farm. This is all paid for out of my pocket, my father's pocket, which is, slightly naive, because yeah, it'll get us where we've got to go, but it'll get us a farm. It'll get us a banana farm and a taro farm. We'll get there. We'll do it that way, but it doesn't really achieve the goal of being able to prove the potential of syntropic farming. So the brand Syntropia is something that came up a few years ago. It was mentioned by some friends, and I've just been Scott, the whole time. But the name Syntropia has come about. So what I've done is I've made a decision to be more openly, formally collaborative, and bring in some partners to share the income and the work and the learning and the knowledge and the pursuit of excellence to get this farm to its full potential. So Syntropia will become a company rather than just a name. It will become a legal structure to open for ownership, for other people to come in, because there's enough income that can be generated from these market gardens and managing these bananas for more than just my father and I. And if that didn't happen, that income wouldn't be realised. So to share and collaborate is the next step I'm going to make. 3 years in, very happy with it all. Looking at where we are now, we're looking at some limits that we need to remove. So that's where we are. We're going to open up to partnership with some local agroflorasteros who are very good, who have been at it for a long time, and they're looking for something similar. So that's what we're going to do. So we want to work that out over the winter and come up with something around early spring, a plan, and get the very best out of this and share the very best with you. And that's a really important realisation for me, because you can't do everything by yourself, even if you do have the help of your awesome dad who's really experienced. So there's a lot more to learn, a lot more to do, and a lot more abundance to come out of this. And as I see this ground accumulating fertility and all of these empty potential market garden beds that don't need much, they just need a tweak, and they're sustained at $410 an acre plus the tree rows, it's a no-brainer, it's just a no-brainer. So I've got to make it happen. That's what I'm up to. So having a look around, the grass has been fed back to itself, and I'm sitting here going, I wish those rows were full of vegetables. I wish we were out here now picking coriander or whatever it is, shallots, scallions, whatever you want to call them. And seeing some cash come in. Yeah, cash moving in to provide livelihood for people that regenerate the earth. That's what I want to do. And I want to see other people do the same thing and learn whatever they can out of whatever it is that we get right. We're all in it together. And be damned if I'm going to sit around and just imagine the possibilities without trying to do them. So, within the Syntropic Workshop, all of the technical information is there for you to learn. I'm there to share all of this continually, my wins and my losses, warts and all, as they say. And throughout your journey, I'm there to just comment, add, answer questions, and help along. But what I've found is most members in the Syntropic Workshop are doing a really, really, really good job. It's really, really good. And nothing beats learning by doing. Nothing beats learning by doing. But if something can be gained from referencing what we're doing, that's even better. So that's the latest update. It's more about the big picture now and making the most out of the potential that we have realised and we have in front of us now, especially at the price we can get it at. We've just got to we've just got to put in the next 20% of work that brings that bigger yield. Many, many bunches of vegetables, lots of taro and very good bananas. The bananas are coming along great. I'll update about that a bit later. Here's a little postscript to add to this video. We're going to have a look at what happens to these pigeon pea dominant rows It's not a pigeon pea monoculture, and nor is it just growing pigeon pea. It's the management of the pigeon pea and the role it plays over time that makes the big difference. That's what syntropic agriculture is based on. But let's have a look at where that's going to take us and what all of those rows are going to look like. We have the mulch, good biomass. This is always the best part, is looking at the soil. Oh my goodness, it's so full of structure. Let's see if we can see it on camera. It's just crumbly and black. Let's have a smell. Oh yes, it smells really sweet. It's not aerobic at all. It's very anaerobic. It's not anaerobic. It's very aerobic. It's very sweet smelling and oxygenated. And we'll be getting some soil tests very, very shortly. Tomorrow I'll be back out here and I'll take some soil tests and send them to my friend Marco at Ground Grocer. And we're going to compare the soil now as to when we first begun. But let's keep looking. The emergent castor oil is done with its life cycle. It's seeding, doing a great job in winter. It's a winter plant, this one largely. It's an all-season plant, but it just doesn't stop in winter. But it's an emergent, so it's growing right out the side here. It's telling us it can be pruned happily, no problem. A lot of plant density. Again, the pigeon pea is still there. It doesn't go away, but it starts to support higher succession plants like this Tacoma stans, which is a medium strata. Lower succession, but higher succession than pigeon pea. Pigeon pea can be considered placenta 2, and Tacoma stans can be considered early secondary. We've got excellent banana health, no fertiliser, plenty of suckers, which is what we're doing here. You could say, on a normal banana farm, you're going on, there's too many suckers, but we're farming suckers. That's what we're doing. We're farming suckers because that's what we need to plant out. We don't really need so many bunches of bananas right now. So we sacrifice the banana production and the bunch weight for suckers. We have some good woody biomass. Higher succession trees coming. This is where it all takes us. What looks like a pigeon pea monoculture takes us into this situation here where we've got rainforest giants here. This is a black bean, I believe. A rainforest giant, a classic plant. And let me just add that as you get to understand syntropic agriculture more and more, you'll understand that this phenomenon of the strength and the dominant phase and the dominant life cycle phase of that point in succession that the pigeon pea has will be repeated by every species or species group through succession. So there's a period of time later on where the forest will be dominated with that black bean. There'll be a period of time before the black bean where the forest will be dominated by Inga edulis. These cycles and phases go through the whole thing, and consolidation is key. But this is where it takes us. In another year or so, all of that pigeon pea will be growing bananas like this, without fertiliser and without irrigation. The pigeon pea's flowering. Normally I would have pruned that, but we want seed. That's the other thing, About, 2/3 of the utility to 3/4 of the utility of this farm right now is to get propagation material. a lovely acacia maiden up here. That will be a long, a high towering emergent soon. But this is what those rows that look like a pigeon pea monoculture will end up looking like, just through management at key touch points after consolidation and planting the right species the right way, which is 5% of the work. The rest of it is management, and a lot of that management comes down to not just pruning, but not pruning. The consolidation period, where we must leave it be and consolidate. Even if we touch senescence a little bit, that's much, much better than getting it too early, because that's when you're damaging plants and damaging the system and going backwards, which I see a lot. There's a lot of that at the moment. And this is the next phase. What we need to learn is that consolidation phase with the correct density of plants. Now that's that update regarding the bananas and what it looks like after the pigeon pea prepare the way. Back to the strategic part, the structural part with collaboration. What we want to do, this sounds very ambitious, and why not? But what we want to do is we want to prove the numbers here, which we're very, very close to doing. We've proven the costs, the cost to carry. It's very, very cheap. But what we want to do now is move it into cash flow positive through the market garden. And then, you know, we've already extrapolated the numbers of this banana row over the whole farm, and it's already cash flow positive. We've just got to plant them out and manage them and get the crop, that's all. But we want to take this farm, the company now, Syntropia, we're going to make it a company. We want to open it up to investors. And I mean everyday investors. People like you and me. How we will do that, we will get advice, possibly equity crowdfunding or something like that. But we want everybody to have access and exposure and have a share in Regen Ag. And if we can build Syntropia up so we can purchase more land and farms, we can bring more farmers in and build more farmers. We can support them. We can fund them. It's basically a social enterprise. That's our big long-term goal. We hope to get there in 3 years, because as soon as there's a cash flow positive business model in place, and while there's increasing inflation and really, really bad places to put your money, there's nothing more regenerative. There's nothing more regenerative or positive or inflation-proof than a regenerative farm that's well managed by good people and good farmers that we will support. So that's a bit of a postscript on that one, just to let you know where we're going in the big picture. So stay tuned. We're going to keep working hard, and please join us in the Syntropic Workshop.